Good morning, Doug here from the Hundredfold Journey. Thanks again for joining us on this Sundays with Doug, where we come alongside of you because we're all on this journey together and we're helping to rewire your brain, build new habits, and create a new identity. Because a hundredfold is about a group of people who are looking to find their true identity, and by doing so, finding God's true identity, because we do have the power to choose what habits, what our identity is, and our brain, rewiring our brain, because that's the way God has designed us. He designed us in a special and unique way. In fact, so special that we have the mind of Christ. So we're able to be creative, be imaginative, to understand God's truths about how he created us and how he created others, because we have the mind of Christ. And that's the series that we're in. So thank you for joining us this morning. Each week we talk about the 10 truths, and these 10 truths were true for Jesus, and they're true for us today because all of his needs were constantly met. He was always in the right place at the right time. Everything his hand touched prospered. And that's the same with us because we have the same spirit in us that was in Jesus, the Holy Spirit. So these are these 10 truths, and we're working to memorize, apply, and meditate upon these each and every week. So as we also have been doing, I'd like to ask for those that are online, maybe share where one of these 10 truths came up in your week last week. So who would like to share a 10 truth that came up?
Well, I mean, I have one. It's more of, I think one of the 10 truths is all my needs are constantly met. And for that one specifically is because I always am trying to impress that God side of me and be like, you know what, um I need to impress more, I need to do more, I need to wake up and I need to think happy. I have to force myself to think happy. But then I have to remember I was already happy. It's just my mind saying those things, and I just realized that I'm gonna stop impressing Jesus or impressing God. I even saw a video about it yesterday, and I'm just gonna start impressing myself, and forgiving myself and talking to myself. That's the main important thing for me that I saw this week, especially up in the mountains and in the snow and enjoying every moment. I had so much time to think about who I am and what I am and how I feel. And it's so crazy that you're so eager to tell somebody else about your emotions. Oh, this is hard. This is, I'm going through this, but you won't even talk to yourself about it. And I realize when I'm sad or feeling upset, I just talk to myself. And the one thing that I remind myself is that I have everything. Like, it's all right. All my needs are constantly met. And that's the need isn't just a materialistic need.
Mm.
It's a emotional need, a supportive need, a comfort need.
Mhm.
And when I find myself outside of that, I always find myself going back to that 10 truth that my needs are constantly met. Like
Yeah.
at Tahoe,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, how we're gonna need to spend all this money on food, but we already had somebody else cooking for us
Yeah.
for
Right.
free,
Right.
and our those needs were met. Yeah, I was still stressing about I need to go out and get more food. I need to do this, and the cook or the chef was saying, no, I got everything, and
Mhm.
that's how I feel that God being love is like, you have everything. I got you everything. You want the double, and there's nothing wrong with that, wanting the double, but it's when you let it consume your feelings and put you into a fearful mindset. So
Yeah. And
that's
what And what we have to remember is that the negative mindset, the
right.
state of lack, only produces more lack and more anxiety and more fear, right? And so when we think that, or remind ourselves that God is in us and all my needs are constantly met, and you come from a state of rest,
Right.
then those things can naturally come. Um, and your example of being at Tahoe and having somebody provide the food for you, um, that was,
I
a good
met
example of
yeah,
that.
that was a need that was met. And I see that for what it is, because we were talking about money, and I see that for what it is, and I'm was kind of stressing about that. But then my imagination went crazy at Tahoe and was like, well, if I can be here and I can do this, there's more that I can do. If I can accomplish this and have this experience for myself and for my family, then there shouldn't be anything else that would stop me from accomplishing any other goals.
Yeah.
Because if I have it all, and I know I have it all, and I can fall back on that mindset that I have it all, then gaining what I need, what I want and desire shouldn't be difficult. Because if you already have what you need and want, then you always should be happy with that, right?
And if you're not happy with what you have now, even when you get what you think you want, it won't make you happy because you're never going to be happy.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? So
makes sense.
you have to renew your mind, rewire our brain that says, no, I'm happy now. And why am I happy now is because of these 10 truths. All my needs are constantly met. And you could use that example of Tahoe, right? You got up there and the food was provided. It was a beautiful environment. It was like, what else is needed? If you can't be happy in that moment,
Yeah,
in that atmosphere, then what makes you think that a week from now or 2 weeks from now or a year from now, when you have these things, that you're going to be happy then?
right.
And I think honestly, from my own experience, no, I won't be happy because it's never going to be enough.
Yeah.
But it is today, right now is the best moment of my life because these truths are true for me. Yeah. Jeremy, how about you? And I know he was having
Well,
some.
since you now mentioned it, and our convers so we were talking before the whole meeting started, and I was talking about some health issues I have had for a few years now. And you today we were going to be talking about our health mindset.
All right. Yep.
So, um, I guess I guess it would be best moment of my life. Needs are constantly met. Right place, right time, and an attitude of gratitude as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And again, talk about perfect timing. We will be talking about health today. So, all right, guys. Well, thanks for sharing. And it just kind of demonstrates how these truths are true for you. And these are basically, God-given truths and laws, if you will, that are a work in our lives at all times. The As we've been talking about the mind of Christ, I mentioned my journey, the journey that I've been on. And I've been saying each week it all started with gratitude. When I was in a state of gratitude and thankfulness for the things that I already had, then it created or caused me to start looking at my identity and who I am. I'm a child of God. I'm his dwelling place. I'm his temple. His Holy Spirit is within me. Then when I started to see that, then I started to meditate. And meditate is another word for prayer or just quiet time where I was, in a state of thankfulness and appreciation. Then I started using my imagination. It's like, wow, if God designed me to be a co-creator, I can use my imagination and then I can start being a co-creator and living out the way that God has designed me, which then provided more gratitude and then the circle around. But it all focuses on the mind of Christ and the ability for us to be able to do this and to have these thoughts and this mindset is because we have the mind of Christ. All right. So we're here talking about the toolkit, and our toolkit for transformation is imagination and co-creation. So we've been in this series about setting goals and creating a new mindset. So we've been talking about it. This is actually week 9, but I wanted to make sure that you guys on the line were learning and coming alongside of me. So the reticular activating system, we call it a filter system. So who can share with me what that looks like? What does it mean to be a filter? And we'll call this a quiz, if you will. So who can describe what that means, a filter system? How does the RAS work as a filter system? And if you're on mute, I can't hear you.
The RAS pretty much acts as, so if you think negatively, you'll see negatively. But if you think positively, you'll
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And why does that work, and how does it work?
I guess you could say one of the 10 truths. State of circumstances don't matter, only state of being matters.
Right. Yeah. So it works by filtering out the things that you don't want. And since we have 34 gig of information that is coming to us every single day, and it's all around us, our brain can't handle it. Would be a circuit overload. So the reticular activating system filters out the stuff that we don't need and helps us to see the things we do want and need. And the fact is, the answers are always there. You just didn't notice them before because of the program. So we get to take advantage of it. We get to rewire and renew our mind how we want that reticular activating system to work for us. And that's because we're the CEO. We get to create the program. And the way we do that is through what we're calling smarter goals. And when we create those smarter goals, we want to make sure that we write them down. They're very clear. We want to make sure we're following the breadcrumb trail, and gratitude, right? And that we're achieving our goals. And here's, I'll let you guys fill in the blank. So being a co-creator with God means we get to choose who knows the answer to that?
The why, when,
The what,
what,
and God chooses the,
when,
right? The when and,
how.
right, very good. Yep, the when and how. Right? So that's where the co-creation comes in. We have not because we ask not. So God is allowing us to be a co-creator with him, and then he brings those answers to our prayers, the how and the when. So here's something that
Quick question.
Yeah,
What would stop us from being a co-creator?
our mindset.
Our mindset?
So, okay. So let me re-answer that. We're always co-creating. There's nothing that can stop us from creating.
Right.
We're either creating out of a negative mindset or from the program, the subconscious program that's within us. For example, when I'll just throw this out. So if you've been raised in a difficult home and you're never good enough, you're ugly, you're fat, you're not smart, you're never going to make it in life, that was the program that was put into you. So now, 30 years later, you still have that programming running in your mind. You're never going to be good enough. You never make enough money. You're fat, whatever. So that program runs. So that's what manifests. That's what your reticular activating system is going to look for and justify why you're the way you are. But you're always co-creating. You're creating from that mindset. And what we're talking about today, and what we've been talking about, is we need to cut that off. We need to say, no, I'm going to stop that program from running and go back to the original design, the way God created us, which is to be a co-creator, to live life intentionally, just like Jesus did, right? He lived very intentionally. He did not let the programming of religion and other people and their thoughts about who he should be. Instead, he lived out of who he was. So we're always co-creating. It's whether we're from a negative or a positive mindset. So I thought I'd share this with you. I thought this was this verse came to my mind this morning. I just added this morning, but it's Psalms 139. You formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance being yet unformed, and your book they were all written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God. How great is the sum of them. If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. So what's the verse that came to my mind is, I will praise you. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So here we are, right? Here's this perfect being that God has formed and created in the womb. We are, everything that we need for life and godliness has been given to us at birth. And then after that, right, then all the negativity and so forth comes in. But everything that we need to regenerate new cells, a pure mind, a heart and body that can regenerate is all been here in the womb. So what I'm trying to do with this new mindset is reminding us, and especially today for health, is that we were fearfully and wonderfully made. I have the mind of Christ. His spirit dwells in me, and he created me in such a way that um, that God can live in me. And of course, there's health that comes along with that, right? And you'll see in this next video about that health. So we're going to watch a video here. So let me set this up. Give me just a second. And we'll watch this video.
So you eventually became a biologist. What did you actually learn then?
Can you hear it
Well,
all
it was
right?
interesting because I became a
Let me
Yep.
turn it up a little bit.
So you eventually became a biologist. What did you actually learn then?
well, it was interesting because I became a biologist, a developmental cellular biologist. I'm working on cells, of course, and in my graduate work, I was cloning stem cells. And it's interesting because a lot of people think stem cells are something brand new that just came into this world recently. And the fact was, I was cloning stem cells back in 1967, 40 years ago. And the significance was, while I was doing this research, I was also teaching medical students. So I was teaching medical students the foundation of how cells work, the conventional story out of the textbook. Genes control life, what we call the genetic determinism, the belief that genes control your traits, behavior, your physical characteristics, etc. And what my research revealed when I was studying the stem cells was this, very profound. I put one stem cell in a petri dish all by itself, and it would divide every 10 to 12 hours. So it'd be 2, 4, 8, 16 cells, 32 cells. After about 2 weeks, I had thousands of cells in the petri dish, but what was unique, they were all genetically identical. But then I did the experiment. The experiment was to take some cells out of the dish and put them into a separate dish with a different environment.
Okay.
And so the environment is a culture medium, but the culture medium to cells is like the world that we live in. It's got the air, the water, the food, all the things in it. So I take the cells out of my stem cell dish, put them in a separate dish with a different environment, and the cells form muscle. But then I went back to the same dish with genetically identical cells in it and took some cells out and put them in a different environment, and they form bone. And then I went back to the same dish with genetically identical cells and put them in a third petri dish with a different environment, and they form fat cells. And there I was confronted with this reality. All the cells are genetically identical, but they had different fate: fat, muscle, bone. I said, simple question: what controls the fate of cells? And the answer is the environment. It was the only thing that was different because they were all genetically identical. So I started to really say, oh my goodness, here I am teaching genes control life to the medical students. And yet the cells were revealing to me that, hey, they all had the same genes, but it was the environment that I put them in. And so the environment controlled their life. And a very simple experiment that is very profound for us today is If I took my dish with plastic petri dish with cells in it and moved it from a healthy environment to a less than healthy environment, the cells get sick. And if I were a doctor of cells, you might say, well, what kind of drugs would you give these cells? And it turns out, no, you don't give the cells any drugs. You just take the dish from the bad environment, put it back into a good environment, and the cells will innately, naturally come back to health again.
So how did this realization impact you at the time? Because you were teaching something completely different.
Yes.
You did this experiment and you realized what you were teaching wasn't the full truth.
Oh, absolutely. And then I had a problem with my colleagues because, first of all, they doubted my work, and then I brought them into the experiments and I had them observe them, watch them, and they all said, wow, yeah, the environment controls the cells. But they wanted to marginalize it, so they would say, oh, that's an exception or an anomaly because we're teaching genetic control. It didn't fit the story. The net result, what it led me to do was I had tenure. I had tenure at the university. I walked out of the university and said, look, I can't keep my integrity and at the same time teach something I know was patently wrong. So I walked out because I saw that teaching the belief that genes control life was very, very incorrect. And it's very interesting because I did that in 1970. Now that's like 40 years ago. And guess what? The new science that is just coming into the forefront of our world today is something called epigenetic control. What I was teaching was genetic control by genes. The new science, which is now coming around, is called epigenetic control. And what that means, you understand the prefix epi means above. So you say epidermis, that means the layer above the dermis, skin. If I say epigenetic control, literally it says control above the genes. And this is the new science. And why is it profound? Because when you teach genetic control, you teach victimization. You didn't pick the genes as far as we know. The genes control your traits. You can't change the genes, so you become victimized by your heredity. And the new science, epigenetic control, reveals how your response to the environment, as you change your response to the environment, you change the fate of your cells, just like in the petri dish. That makes you a master, because you are the one that has the opportunity to change your perception and response, so therefore you're the one that controls your genes.
But it took
All right. Hopefully you guys heard that all right.
Yep.
So what's cool about this is if we go back to the screen with the baby, right? We were fearfully and wonderfully made. God has designed our body in such a way that we have the ability to heal ourselves, quite literally, to heal ourselves. And what Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's been in the medical field for close to 50 years, had discovered that to the point where he could control the genes, where he moved them from these different petri dishes and basically proved that it was the environment that we put ourselves in to put our DNA in. And if you remember, I don't know, 4 or 5 lessons ago, we were talking about you're the captain of your ship, right? And you've got your binoculars out and you're looking ahead and you're sending signals down to the control room, down to the engine room. And the engine room is always sending messages. Hey, how's it going out there? Do we need to be in panic? Do we need to be in anxiety? Or do we need to be at rest? So you, with your mind, are controlling or seeing the environment and how you react to it. You send that signal down to your genes, to the engine. And if you say, hey, everything's fine up here, then the genes can relax. Your DNA can then get to a point where it's in a repair mode or a fix mode rather than anxiety. Because when you're anxious and worried and fearful and stressful, these genes aren't fixing or getting healthy. They're reacting to that. So again, it's the environment. So that's where we're at right now, is we want to talk about what our health mindset is. Now, the current mindset, I put a bunch of these down, and these may be true for you. Hang on just a second. Let me get rid of this. these may be true or different for you, but these are the ones I thought. It's just my DNA. You know, that's the way I was born. I don't have a choice. I was born that way. I can't stop myself. It's too hard, right? I can't do what I think I need to do. It's just too hard. I don't have the motivation. I always have to watch what I eat. This is a weight thing. I'm always monitoring my weight. I always get sick. I feel bad about myself because I don't look and feel the way I want to. I can't afford to eat better. I can't afford to belong to a gym or exercise. I will never be healthy. I'm just stuck with what I have. Does that make sense? So now we
Yep.
need to shift that current mindset into the new mindset when because we have the mind of Christ, right? We saw where Psalms 139 says we were fearfully and wonderfully made. We saw this video with Bruce Lipton that says, hey, you know, we're not a victim. We actually have responsibility for our body. So what would be a new mindset? What would be a new mindset for you guys? What statement, just like we did with money, right? Before, what would be a new mindset statement? What are some things that you would want for yourself?
Well, I would like my a goal is to lose 50 pounds.
Okay.
Is that a new mindset? Or I can lose 50 pounds?
Yeah. So you try to want to be more on a positive statement.
Well, I can run a few miles without getting tired. I love to eat healthy foods. Um,
Actually, can I chime in real quick?
Yeah, please.
So on that last one that you just put, I love to eat healthy foods. How about instead of it being completely specific, have it be I feel comfortable eating whatever food I can because of my health.
Okay. All right. What other statements?
Brainstorming.
All right. Yeah, let it go. Yeah, keep the brainstorming coming. That's the whole idea of this.
Let's see.
I want to go to the doctors to get a health checkup. For me, also, it would be a goal to get veneers, even though it's a kind of a crazy goal. But
I don't even know how to spell that. Okay.
yeah,
So what would you guys want for your overall health? Some of these are very specific, which is good. But the overall, if you were to kind of combine all of this together so that it was specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound, exciting, and risky.
in 1 year, I would like to. In 1 year, I would like to. The same thing is just it comes back to my weight. Like I think in 1 year I have a goal to lose 50 pounds. That's a goal in 1 year. Um, Overall health, I think it would take me a year um to get therapy. I think to have that to afford therapy and to have that going on because that's part of health.
Okay. And Jeremy, with your current situation that you shared before the cameras were on, what statement would you like to make about that?
I think similar to what Michael said about the doctors, maybe going to a gastroenterologist to figure out healthy alternatives to trying to think of the word. To lessen the impact of my health issues.
Okay. All right. So this was the brainstorming session. So let's come up with a single statement. Michael, let's start with you. What would be a single statement that that just like it energizes you? It's like, ah, that would be awesome. What would be a statement?
It would be awesome to walk into a gym and look healthy and have a sexy physique and just have better breathing, better feeling, happier about myself, run more. I just feel like that's big thing of my health issues, just not eating right. And I'd like to eat better and feel better and look better. Even though I know it's 100% capable, I'm still using my imagination to think about what that feels like, smells like, and I know I can get there. I think that's would be the biggest thing is like to go on a beach, take off my shirt, and not feel so dang insecure about my stomach.
Okay. So let's get off the subject of weight. So if you made a statement like I am healthy, happy, fit, and feel great about how I look.
Yeah.
And then you were talking about food, right?
Yeah, eating healthy. I already eat really well. I eat what I need to eat.
I eat healthy. Yeah, what else?
Well, health is kind of tricky because it's like even if you're like, oh, I hope I don't like get cancer or it's still kind of making it negative, right?
I eat healthy and am able to do all the things I want.
Mm.
How does that sound? So read that off and let me know how that makes you feel.
Yeah. That is
Okay,
good.
one more. Just read it out loud. I want to hear. I want to hear you say it.
In 1 year, I'd like to lose 50
No,
pounds.
no, down at the bottom, the last one.
Yeah, I'm healthy, happy, fit, and feel great about how I look. I eat healthy, and I am able to do all the things I want. It's good. I believe that.
So does that feel good to you?
Yes, yes, it does feel good to me.
Would that be something at the end of the day that you would want for yourself?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. So Jeremy, let's talk about your finding a healthy solution to lessen the impact of my health issues. You also talked about eating food and being healthy. What would be a statement for you that could summarize all of that? Starting with I am.
Let's see. I guess, well, one of the things I also want to try is also therapy as well.
Mhm.
So I am,
How about almost the same thing, right?
yeah,
Healthy,
pretty much
happy, fit.
fit, feel great about how I look. I eat healthy. I'm able to do all the things I want, and my mind is well, and also including mental health as well.
Yeah.
Um,
My mind, body, and spirit is healthy, happy, fit.
I would
And
say I am happy, healthy, fit, and I feel great as my mind feels the same.
I think for you, I am able to heal myself of any ailment.
Ailment?
Yeah, that's the word I was thinking. All right, read that out loud. Let me know if that trips your trigger.
I am happy, I am healthy, happy, fit, and feel great, and my mind feels the same. I am able to heal myself of any ailments. Yep. It's exactly how I want to be.
All right. All right, cool. Cool. All right. So I'm going to send these to you so that you can modify them or change them so that so that there's something that that you memorize, right? These are statements that you want to memorize. And then as I have done, this is my vision board. Is then you take pictures of what you want to visualize, and when you see the pictures you go, yep, that's exactly what I want, right? So for me, it's my weight today is perfect for me, fit strong, full of energy, never sick, right? So that's my statement for myself. And when I think of that, this is kind of what I would like to see in me. So the same thing for you guys, and this was my picture for my money statement, right? The new money mindset is the way I pictured it is like a garden, right? That's manicured. There's lots of trees and bushes and so forth, and then there's a path that kind of goes through it, and that path leads me to the resources and the money that I want, right? So this is what I visualize every single day as I'm doing my visualization, same as this one. So as you guys are putting this together, start thinking about the visuals that you want to do. And we'll be talking about how to put together a vision board later. But if you want to start now, there's nothing stopping you. So Jeremy, back to the money mindset. Have you made any changes to this mindset? My business is valued at 125 in the next 3 years so that I can travel globally and share that with a significant other and support my family and friends.
Hope that mindset has stayed the same.
All right. Does that still trip your trigger? It's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for. That's the what. That's the what. God chooses the how and the when. So is that what you want?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then Michael, how about you for yours? I will buy a new home in the next 18 months with my savings of 30K and with my car paid off, enjoy my new truck and boat to go fishing.
Yep, that is trigger.
All right. All right, cool. And then now we've got we've got the new mindset for health. Yeah, so Michael, why don't you read that first one off again? I kind of changed it. My mind.
My mind, body, and spirit is healthy, happy, fit, and I feel great about how I look. I eat healthy, and I am able to do all the things I want. I'm healthy, happy, fit, and great.
Well, that's Jeremy's.
Oh, sorry.
So how does that first one feel to you?
First one feels really good to me. The first one feels.
Right.
The second one does too.
All right.
They both do.
And Jeremy, why don't you read yours again?
I am happy. I am healthy, happy, fit, and feel great about, and my mind feels the same, and I am able to heal myself of any ailments.
All right. So guys, I know that there are some specifics that you shared, like the 50 pounds, the the running, and those types of things. But what I'm here to tell you is that when you have your mind, body, and spirit, when you are thinking the thoughts, here's the reticular activating system, right? You're programming your RAS what to look for, right? And what you're telling it to look for is that your mind, body, and spirit is healthy, happy, and fit, and that you're able to heal yourself of any ailments. That's the what. When you are programming that, then all of a sudden things are going to come into your surroundings. Not sure what way to say that. And Jeremy, your example was with the money mindset. If you'll remember, all of a sudden you got the idea to go on a website and do some searching, and then all of a sudden there was an ad over to the side that you decided to click on, and all of a sudden you were going, wow, this is exactly what the things that I would like to be doing. You remember that? So
Yeah.
the same things are going to happen with this one. So all of a sudden you're going to see programs, you're going to get an intuition like, you know what? I'm not hungry right now. I don't need to eat that. So you don't have to be specific about losing weight or any of that. It's the mindset, and then your body will shift and change. And just like the Bruce Lipton biology, you're changing the environment that your DNA is now in. It's not in an environment of I'm overweight, I need to lose weight, all the negativity, right? Or I have this syndrome that I have and it bothers me and it irritates me. And so all of that changes now with your mindset, and you're shifting, if you will, that petri dish, right? You're moving it from that negative environment to the positive, and the DNA has nothing to do except it has to change. It has to change because you've changed the environment. I hope all that makes sense.
It did.
Yeah. So don't don't go down the path of the negativity. I'm overweight, and why isn't this weight coming off? Just allow it to happen, and you'll see the results because you've changed your mindset. You're the captain of your ship. You're the CEO. You get to control your thoughts. You send that signal down to your DNA and you say, hey, man, everything is fine up here. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm strong. I feel good. I look good. Then your body has to change. It has to come into agreement with your thoughts. All right. So again, I'll send these to you. Please memorize them, write them down, look at them every single day, just like these. Right. Hopefully you've written this down and memorized this. And maybe there'll be a quiz in a couple of weeks. I'm going to ask you, to make sure that you're doing this work, because I'm telling you guys, this will not happen if you're not reprogramming, because that the negative mindset, the subconscious program is going to kick back in. It's going to say, I know what Doug told you on Sunday, but by golly, that's really stupid. I can't believe he would think that, this could actually happen for you. You're not good enough. It's not going to happen. Those thoughts will come. So you got to capture those thoughts and you got to say, no, this is the truth for me, because this is the way God created me. Psalms 139, I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. He designed me this way. And now I'm just living out my true identity of who I am. I am God's child. All right, enough of that. So any questions, comments before we close off? In fact, now that I'm looking at the picture down at the bottom right-hand corner, right, the co-creator, he's got the DNA string, in his fingertips, right? And I'm with him. I'm a co-heir with Christ. So that hand, if you will, is the hand of God, because that's the way he created me. But it's also my hand because I have the ability to control the environment that my DNA is in. So there you have it. All right, guys. Thanks for joining this Sunday. I always appreciate your time, and looking forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.